First up on the program this morning, the fight for hundreds of WA investors that has been dragging on for far, far, far too long. Back in 2019, you might recall a supposedly credible property investment scheme called Sterling First fell over. It was a scheme that was very cleverly marketed to thousands of older West Australians as a cheaper option than going into a retirement village. Consequently, plenty fell for the spiel and the glossy brochures. It looked pretty good. Hundreds of thousands of dollars were handed over in upfront fees for long-term property leases, or so they thought. And then, of course, it all went bust. So 2 years on, where are the authorities on this? The corporate watchdog, ASIC, told the victims they would seek civil penalties and they would look after the compensation trail and more. So where is it? Well, tomorrow, the victims of Sterling First have organised what they hope will be a big rally to march on the steps of Parliament, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, to demand some sort of action. We're joined this morning by a spokesperson for the Sterling First victims, Peter Bazzusto. Pete, good morning to you.
Oh, good morning, Liam, and absolutely perfectly explained there what has been happening over the last 2 years to us poor people. That I'll just pull you up on one remark there, Liam.
Yep.
Millions of dollars have been collected from this particular group, and we're turning up to tomorrow at the Parliament House, as you just mentioned, at 10:45. If people would like to come along and support us, and Liam, anyone else has been caught up in something like this, where the regulatory, and I use that word very loosely, Liam, watchdog in ASIC, have allowed this to morph into something that was just taking us people's life savings. We've got the oldest in it, Liam, is 95, and he's just been evicted from his property out in Shoalwater. And we've got people in court at the moment, people being evicted, people going to aged care facilities. So as you mentioned before, it's just taken far, far, far too long. And tomorrow we're going to make a statement outside the Parliament House.
And Peter, sadly, speaking of the age of the victim group, sadly, some, 15 or 16 have died since this went belly up. Yes,
very true. And others have gone into aged care facilities, Liam. You're quite correct there. Dementia is set in because it was an elderly, elderly vulnerable people's target area.
Yep.
And, you mentioned before that silky promos and silky brochures, et cetera, but, it was something that lasted for about 2.5 years, Liam. A lot of people put in $200,000, $250,000, $300,000, listeners, to protect themselves from paying rent for the rest of their lives and to live in comfort, for this particular scheme. Liam, it lasted 2.5 years. Just a quick one on mine. Mine was $200,000. $13,000 a year was a rent. I still should have had, after 2 years, $175,000 in the account, even if, Liam, we never got any interest at all or any bank interest at all, et cetera, et cetera. So where is that money? We are trying, and as you mentioned before again in the early introduction, we are seeking justice here, Liam. We want to know where this money is. We've got a liquidator, KPMG, that have been in this for 2.5 years, Liam, and we have not seen a report on what has happened with the Sterling collapse.
Well, see, this is the funny thing, and KPMG, and I hope somebody from there is listening, they can phone the program and explain this because I'm not having a go at them for wrongdoing in relation to the way this collapsed, but having your hands in the till, which is what receivership is. I mean, they're in there for the picnic too, Peter. They'll be folding back the picnic blanket and rolling out the plastic knife and fork. Don't worry about that. They're taking fees from this.
Well, they absolutely are, Liam. I believe it's totaling nearly $1 million now. Now, we demand a report. Again, as I mentioned, we've been suffering for 2.5 years. We can't get anyone. Liam, there's that many brick walls up in front of the Canberra Parliament House that Sterling victims have written thousands and thousands of letters to MPs, the Treasurer, the Prime Minister, our electees, our politicians, etc., etc. And Liam, we get the same response from every one of them. It's not my department, send it somewhere else. Not my department, send it something else. If it wasn't for the state government here, Liam, at the moment, paying for the eviction notices, barristers and, of course, lawyers to perform in court for us, we would have been in a world of hurt. So, Liam, what we're actually now demanding is a Senate inquiry into the Sterling collapse, and we'll ask that tomorrow on the steps. And we are going to seek a royal commission into ASIC, because ASIC, as I mentioned, are the regulator, the watchdog who's supposed to protect, Liam, the financial product that is, morphed into someone, and they've got a scheme like that,
Well,
and
look, Peter,
sorry,
just to correct me if I'm wrong here, because I know you know this chapter and verse.
Yes.
And I wasn't here on the beat when this thing collapsed, so if there's a little gap in my knowledge, then I apologise. But as I understand it, Sterling First had all the licences. They were fully licensed by ASIC under the Corporations Act.
Yes.
Okay, so
that's correct.
So there's no excuse. There's no part of the Act that doesn't apply to them. So what's happened to these civil penalties? What's happened to the breaches of the Corporations Act? What's happened to ASIC? Where is the corporate watchdog?
That's exactly what we're demanding, Liam, and they are supposed to be the corporate watchdog on the beat. So they're right in the mix here, and we believe, Liam, that they're in helping Sterling First put this particular scheme together. There was no PDSs given out to us renters, and Liam, there is another three parts to this company as well. There's shareholders, and of course there's investment arm, and of course there's a management arm, and so it is a complex situation, and very, very complex. And as I said before, we are seeking something from KPMG to tell us what's going on and where this money's gone, why ASIC, Liam, and this is what listeners should listen to. Why haven't they fessed up to this, that they allowed this to morph into stealing more money from particular people? There's another arm in this as well, Liam, which we are very, very disappointed with. It's called the Consumer Protection Group of WA. In March 16, they went to a seminar and they found irregularities with this particular scheme, Liam, and they advised ASIC. So ASIC knew everything that was going on at that time, and thank you for bringing that up with me just then, because we are seeking, as you probably gather, a complete reading from ASIC telling us why they allowed this particular scheme to keep on carrying on.
But I just don't understand the delay, because ASIC employ lawyers, and some of them are very good lawyers, and they're all, by definition, legally trained. So
yes,
you call it a PDS for the sake of our listeners, a product disclosure statement.
Disclosure statement, correct.
Which is the document upon which you rely upon when you invest. Yes. And those things are the Bible that come under the Corporations Act, by which the company has to play by the rules. Now,
abide by, yes.
It's pretty straightforward stuff. It's you read this statement, if you're legally trained, if there's something in there that you find defective, then you act and then you charge.
They won't allow it, Liam. If there's a word wrong in a PDS, ASIC will not allow it. Now, we understand that they
That's exactly the point I'm making. That's exactly the point I'm making.
Correct, Liam.
If it's approved and it goes out to the public I beg your pardon for the language, but for suckers like you, Peter, and all those people who have now lost their money, well, where is the law, mate?
Well, where is the stand up for people? The most vulnerable people in society, Liam, are elderly. And, we've been in this world for quite a long time. And, we've got a lot of people, Liam, that's paid a lot of tax over the years, and we've done our dues. And, now awareness has got to come. The financial situation with this, Liam, also I forgot to mention to you, there was irregularities in this, and ASIC called a stop order on this particular product halfway through 2017. No. But they allowed it to morph into another situation where Sterling come up with another scheme that had collected another $10 million while they were investigating the trust account, which Theta Asset Management, Liam, I don't know whether you've got that on your books there, but Theta Asset Management Group was the group that actually handled the money that was deposited into the account where the rent was paid from.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible, Liam. And we have been sitting there for 2.5 years, as you mentioned before, waiting for someone in ASIC or the government or the federal parliament to fess up to this. They've made a mistake, Liam. They've made a mistake. Well, fess up to it. We're going to the Parliament House tomorrow. We'll ask Mr McGowan if he comes out. Write us a cheque for $18 million. Pay us out. You go to the federal government and say, take the $18 million that you owe these people off ASIC because they failed these people at the most vulnerable time of their lives.
Well,
and we are very, very angry with it, Liam. We will not go away. We've got other people supporting us now. We've got people coming up to me every day. Have you been paid out yet, Peter? Have you been paid out? Have they done this? Have they done that? No, they haven't. And I would hate, Liam, for this to happen to your mother or auntie or whatever, or anyone else's, because we've been put through the mill for the last 2.5 years, and it's about time tomorrow, we make a stand, and we make a stand in front of Parliament. And please, everyone, if you want to support us, if you've been duped by anything at all, please join us. You're very, very welcome to come to it. 10:45 on the steps of Parliament House tomorrow. Unfortunately, Liam, I can't attend because I've got other issues that I've got to fix up tomorrow. But, hopefully people will get there. We'll have banners, we'll have whistles, we'll have marching bands, we'll have dancing girls, etc. Causing havoc up there, Liam. But, thank you very much for your interest in it. And, I believe that we'll get, a very, very good response tomorrow.
Well, I hope you get some support. You certainly deserve action and you certainly deserve that report from KPMG at the very least. But the action from the authorities. Can I just make one point, though, just in case some of our listeners are confused there, because there are state federal obligations here. So even though you're marching on Parliament House, and fair enough too, you're asking Premier McGowan to do something about it, but technically it's not really his purview. It's the federal government.
Correct. Yes.
So if he does move to do something and break that nexus, and then take the fight up with the Commonwealth, he'll be doing a very big favour to everybody, and it's when it's not really his political problem.
Absolutely correct, Liam. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to put that on the table, Peter. To be fair to the Premier. Now,
absolutely. They've been very, very good to us. Fighting for us with eviction notices, and it's come to the fact now that we've probably got about 4 or 5 or 6 in courts at the moment. Battling the eviction notice. As people would know, we signed up for a 40-year lease. An 80-year-old, Liam, signing up for a 40-year lease, there's a bit of a red flag for a start.
It is. It is.
And then, you've got people telling us that, you've invested that money. Well, no one invests money into a 40-year lease and get nothing out of it for 40 years.
No, but it was the way it was presented. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Now,
Liam. Yep.
And Peter, just before I leave you, I might say on a personal note that you've had your own health issues. You just alluded to that, not being able to make it tomorrow. But you've shown amazing leadership, given that you've had your own health problems. So well done.
Thank you, mate. No, I'm fighting for the. I used to work for the company, Liam, and I was sacked or retrenched. When the stop order come with the situation with ASIC that they were investigating the company again, all the sales reps got the bullet, and but since then I've been fighting for the group. We've got some wonderful people, and we've met a lot of people in there, Liam, that are just like everyday people that, as you mentioned before, they fell for it. We all fell for it, and as I say, it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's millions of dollars, Liam, and a lot of this money was life savings to these people,
Yep.
And now we've got people that, are trying to find $300 a week rent by themselves, and it just can't happen, and, that's why we're fighting very, very hard.
Yeah, no, it must be soul destroying.
Thank you, Liam.
Peter, thanks very much, and good luck tomorrow.
All the best. Thanks very much, Liam. Cheers.
Peter Bazzusto is the spokesperson for Sterling First Victims. It's 22 minutes past 9 on the morning program. 133 882 is our talkback number. Love to hear from you this morning.